Good morning. Welcome to Up to the Minute. It is Friday, February the 14th. Happy Valentine's Day to you. Welcome to the show. We've got your HCC TV, our HCC news and information, and some special Valentine's related guests. My co-host this morning, Randy Ramsey, joins me remotely. Randy, good to see you.
Good to see you too. Good morning. So excited to be here and such a romantic story.
You've got a romantic story you're going to talk about in just a few minutes, but we also have another guest coming up in just a few moments as well. But it's Valentine's Day. It's a Friday, and we're here every Monday through Friday, live at 10 a.m. And you can also catch us on our social media anytime, Randy. And of course, they can watch us on our cable channel.
That's right. We're on live. We're on HCC TV at noon, 5 and 10 Monday through Friday, as
All
well
right.
as you can catch us on YouTube and X, Facebook.
That's exactly right. All right. So you've got a special guest you're going to talk to in just a few moments, but we're talking Valentine's Day. And of course, we've got Travis Leamons. He is the Houston Film Critics Society president and contributing writer for Fresh Fiction. He's going to be talking about some romantic movies to take a look at. Travis, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Todd. Happy to be here.
Yeah. So it's going to be a big weekend for folks. A lot of folks may opt to stay in over the weekend, watch a few movies, and you've got some suggestions for them?
Yes, I do. We got everything from classic romance to screwball comedies to current, even a potential Oscar winner from this year.
All right. So we're looking forward to hearing from you in about 10 minutes. I'll be with you right after the commercial break. But first off, Randy, you got an interesting story. I guess a couple who have a special connection to HCC.
That's right. We have two former students who met here and are now married. One is at the online college, and they were both featured at a recent board meeting. So I want to welcome Christy Cervantes, advising manager at HCC's Online College and an HCC graduate, and her husband, Chris Cervantes, a professional welder and also an HCC grad. Thank you so much, Chris and Christy, for being here. I can't wait to hear your story. So you met here as an advisor and a student, but we want to make it clear that it was after he was a student that you got involved.
Correct. So thank you so much for having us. So correct. Yes, we actually were students when we met at HCC.
That's great. So tell us about yourself and your time first, Christy, as a student.
So I actually started at HCC Southeast. I'm a first generation college student. I ended up taking my core classes there. Decided to pursue my 2-year degree, my Associates of Arts. I also worked there as a work study student, and also I started off at the bookstore. And so while I was, taking my courses, I was working in the counseling office, and that's when it was, that's what advisors were called back then, counseling. And so I would help the counselors with students and help them register for classes after the counselors advised them on what courses and what degree plans to take. And so part of my role there was to help all the students register for their classes. And that is how I ended up meeting Chris. We were actually students, and we ended up, I ended up assisting him, and then we took some classes there together. And from time to time, we also had mutual friends. So we would hang out in the student lounge, and just that's how we got to know each other. And it wasn't until I graduated that we reconnected. And once we were together, he was interested in returning to school for welding. And that's when I advised him on the program that we had at Southeast.
So now I think we lost Chris due to some technical glitches, but I'm going to ask you, how long have you guys been married? When did you get married?
So we've been married in November, will be 13 years. So we got married in 2012.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you a question. As an advising manager for HCC Online, what do you want? I mean, pivoting away from the romantic love story, because I'm so glad that HCC brought y'all together, but also, like, what do you want our students to know about the online environment and the experience that they can have at HCC?
Thank you for asking that. I want the students to know that, online, it's a flexible option for your educational options that you have, whether you're pursuing a certificate or a 2-year degree and wanting to either enter the workforce or transfer to a university. It is an option that you have. You don't have to pursue it full time. It can be scary, but I mean, I advise students to, maybe, get your feet wet, maybe take one class at a time. But I really want the students to know that it's a flexible option. So for example, we have students like in the workforce who are out in the field, like my husband, currently right now, he's out in the field. That's why he's having technical issues that, although our welding classes are not, they're contact. But if you sign up for a class, a history class, you can sign up for that and have a online option, a synchronous option where you can log in and make sure that you do your homework at any time. It's very flexible. That's one thing I want the students to know, that we're here and we have a variety of options that you can take virtually with us.
Well, and I taught online classes for HCC as well. So, I know what a great learning experience that can be when you can make it work for your schedule that you have for the job you have right now. So I think one of the great things about it is that it gives you an option to start and see, which path you want to go down, and it's low stress. It's not like you have to drive all the way across town, and you can, get started in an advanced education with a reasonable cost on a flexible schedule that works for you. And I think that's a huge asset. So if you decide to go into the welding program, you can just take those classes that you need because you would have taken everything else online. And that
Correct.
works for several of our programs, doesn't it?
Yes, you have the hybrid option where you could take the courses that you need, like your core classes online, and then you can, if you have classes that are required that you have to come in on campus and face to face, you also have that option. So like I said, we're very flexible. We also have a new program called the One Now program, where you can take one class at a time. This is targeted for our part-time students. We know as part-time students, you are probably juggling a full-time job, have a family, have other obligations. And so you are able to, start your educational credentials at HCC with online college, taking one class at a time.
Which is such a great option because, I have 2 kids and a job and everything else. And I just think, wow, at my age where I am right now, would I be brave enough to go back to school? And it's just so great that we're offering students such flexibility. Let me ask you, as an alumni of HCC, what's your like one favorite thing that you think, yeah, I'm so glad I was here?
So my one favorite thing is the sense of belonging, the community. That was one thing that I loved when I was a student at HCC, was that I felt welcomed, and all the resources that my counselors, as well as my professors and, staff and faculty, it was like a one huge family. And that was amazing. That I always, when I'm talking about my educational journey, I am a huge advocate for, for a community college, but specifically for Houston Community College, because it provided a true connection for me as a first gen student.
Okay, it's Valentine's Day, so I'm just going to ask, do you and Chris have any special plans for tonight?
Yes, we're actually going to hang out with our son. We have a little one, 8 years old. And so we're going to go out and, treat him as, for Valentine's Day. He's our little Valentine's. And so we're going to take him out, get him, a toy of his choosing, and then go grab his favorite meal, which is, like 88-year-old chicken nuggets and French fries. And that's usually what we do. We're just, we're a close-knit family. We love to travel, and we just love to hang out in our free time, especially with our busy schedules.
Well, yes, and having like so many things. And I know welders, they work all over town, so he can be on the road quite a bit, which I am, so I feel for him. Um, but so, it's so nice that you have a little HCC kiddo and you guys are going to have such a great night together.
Yes, it is. Yes. And he'll probably be a future student. We're
Look,
pushing.
My son is out touring colleges right now, but he's talking about doing his first year and a half at HCC because why not? Why not do all of those classes there? And I'm certainly encouraging him. Look, the longer I can keep him at home, the better. So I'm just going to say, as many Valentines as you can get with your little guy, enjoy them because there's going to come a certain point where they're going to be like, I'm sorry, Mom, Valentine's Day with you? I think not.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Christy Cervantes, Advising Manager for HCC Online College and HCC Graduate, and her husband, Chris, who was here briefly, but we lost him. Thanks for joining us, and we'll have some information in the post after the show. And after a quick commercial break, Todd will be back to talk to our Film Friday guests about romantic films.
At Houston Community College, we make your lessons matter. Open the door to real-world education, where passions become careers. Find out more at hccs.edu and let your success take flight.
That one day at PE when they were like yelling at me and then you just linked arms with me, I don't think you know how much like that helped me. I finally like knew that I had somebody.
Welcome back to Up to the Minute. I'm Todd Duplantis, and it, of course, is Valentine's Day, and we're celebrating that here at Up to the Minute. Going out tonight, staying home, staying in this weekend, maybe to watch a few movies with your Valentine. Well, we've got some ideas for you. Travis Leamons is the president of the Houston Film Critics Society and contributing writer for Fresh Fiction. Good morning to you, Travis. How are you?
Happy Valentine's Day, Todd. How are you?
Yeah, same to you. So people looking to see some movies, but before you see the movie, you got to think behind the movie. What's actually happening behind the scenes? I imagine what makes a good movie has got to be chemistry by the in between the co-stars or the stars of the movie.
Yeah, casting plays a big role in the success of a romantic comedy, whether it be like a screwball type comedy or straight up romance like Jack and Rose from Titanic. Like, you can't make that movie without Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet. But then you have a movie like Made in Manhattan with Jennifer Lopez and Ray Fiennes, and it just doesn't work. But if you see Jennifer Lopez and George Clooney and Out of Sight and the chemistry they have, it's propulsive.
Well, you know, I saw a movie recently. I guess it could be considered a rom-com. It was interesting, a bit entertaining. The new one with Will Ferrell and Reese Witherspoon was on, and it's on, I believe, Amazon, called You're Truly Cordially Invited. Have you had a chance to see that yet?
I have not seen that one, but it is strange to see how far that Will Ferrell has come from his days of being like Anchorman and Elf, and now he's paired with Reese Witherspoon, who has pretty much gone from Legally Blonde to having her own book club.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of hard. You know, Will Ferrell's going to outshine anybody in a movie, but the chemistry between the two, you know, didn't really seem to happen. So it does make a big difference with a movie. But this one, very cliche, but you said that kind of works though at times, right?
Oh, you got to have your cliches. I mean, that's what the films on the Hallmark movie channel love, especially around Christmas time, where they have 3 plots and you just separate them out for every few movies. But like The Ugly Duckling, we saw it in Cinderella, which is one of Walt Disney's best films. You see it in The Princess Diaries with Anne Hathaway. And yet, all along, you know they're beautiful, or it's like, yeah, it's there all along. You just have to look beyond looks.
And of course, When Harry Met Sally, all those movies, certainly monumental in the day, still good movie, but a lot of cliches in that one too.
But, everyone remembers the famous scene from When Harry Met Sally, I'll have what she's having. And
Yeah.
that was done by Rob Reiner's mom, which is just perfect. You get your mom to give the most memorable line in the film.
And that was revived for a recent Super Bowl commercial that was made it to the game this past weekend. Who do you consider Mr. and Mrs. Romantic?
Oh, Mr. Romantic has to be Cary Grant because he pretty much wooed everyone. Surprisingly, though, I thought he had a memorable romance with Audrey Hepburn, but I think the timelines would not have worked in their favor as far as when she was on the come up and where he was at the time. He was like the elder statesman. But what surprised me, looking at some of the most romantic films over the years, is that we always think of Alfred Hitchcock as the king of suspense, but he has some very good romances in his films. To Catch a Thief with Cary Grant. You also have Vertigo with Jimmy Stewart, and of course Rear Window with Jimmy Stewart and Grace Kelly, which is one of my favorite romances because during the entire movie, like you have this beautiful woman and you're just confined to a chair and you can't do anything.
Yeah. You also have a title, Occupational Hazards, that pertains to some movies. I imagine this is romance in the workplace, which really is kind of a no-no these days.
Well, back in the 80s, it was a different time. Women were, liberated. They wanted to make their mark in the workforce. So when you're Melanie Griffith and you have a chance to, strike it while the iron is hot, how do you not get under the spell of Harrison Ford in Mike Nichols' comedy?
Romance abroad's always a big thing too, because you not only many times get a good story, but you get to see sites that many people may want to go on vacation to.
So one of the most underrated, or maybe I should say underseen films is Richard Linklater's Before Sunrise. Richard Linklater was born in Houston, Texas, but he spent most of his life up in Huntsville. He made a movie after the success of Dazed and Confused in 1993. So that movie came out in 93. Before Sunrise, 1995, is about a couple actually that meet on a train, Jesse and Celeste, played by Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy. And it's just a walk and talk feature. They spend the entire night just walking and talking in Vienna, just seeing the sights.
Are there movies out there that are extremely romantic comedies or just romantic movies that are extremely underrated that you think people need to check out? You might want people to put on their list this weekend.
So this is actually a great time because this weekend, the Museum of Fine Arts is playing a film called Love and Basketball. They're playing it Friday night and they have another matinee Sunday afternoon. And it's about two childhood friends, and as they grow up, they form a romantic relationship, but each one wants to succeed in the sport of basketball. So while they are trying to their individual pursuits, they sort of clash together, and which one wins out? Does basketball win out over love, or does love win out over basketball?
I had a chance over the holidays to see a movie, and I guess, could you consider romance and horror as its own genre? I could think of a few movies that could fit into it, maybe a Dracula, or over the holidays, I saw a Nosferatu, demented horror comedy. But could you consider that a genre as well for romantic movies?
Well, there's many subgenres of romance, and romantic horror is one of them. And in a way, Beauty and the Beast is romantic horror, where you have a bookish girl that is not really confined, but she's in the presence of this beastly character, and over time, the curse is broken, and to reveal a handsome prince, just like Shrek.
Shrek, definitely. I'd have to watch every time whenever I'm switching channels or surfing on YouTube TV, come across Shrek, no matter what, no matter what movie it is, 1, 2, 3, or I'm always drawn to it. I don't know what it is with Shrek, the comedy, the writing, at least in the first two were just phenomenal. And yeah, they were romance movies.
I mean, even Lady and the Tramp. I mean, like lots of great pairings. A romance that you wouldn't even think is like, is this really a romance movie I should watch? Bonnie and Clyde with Faye Dunaway and Warren Beatty.
I would even go so far to say the Star Trek trilogy with some of the lines that came from Harrison Ford to Carrie Fisher. Those were that you could say that was a romance. All three of those.
I mean, like the ending of The Empire Strikes Back, where Princess Leia says, "I love you," and he goes, "I know," and then he's frozen in carbonite.
Yeah, and that I saw. I just recently I saw something on the internet with an interview with him, and he said that he just came up with that line, and they really didn't want him to use it. But he's like, "What would you say in a situation like that? That's totally characteristic for this character, but just uncharacteristic to people." And that's what he came up with.
Well, I think Harrison Ford is very underrated as a romantic lead, and people underestimate his comedy chops too. He did in addition to Working Girl, he did a movie called Morning Glory, where he played a talk show host, and he was very evasive. But over the course of the movie, you see that he is just a cranky, crotchety old man, but he has a heart of gold.
Definitely one of the best actors of our time, at least in my opinion. Travis Leamons is the president of Houston Film Critics Society and contributing writer for Fresh Fiction. We appreciate you joining us on this Film Friday, and happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. Happy to be here.
All right. We're going to have all of his information in our social media post after the show. Okay, we're going to take another commercial break. We'll be back with some news and announcements when we return.
At Houston Community College, we make your lessons matter. Open the door to real-world education, where passions become careers. Find out more at hccs.edu and let your success take flight.
If you love them enough to crawl into a play place to get them to come down, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Today I'm going to talk to you about physics. Come on in, girls. Let's go. This is the first rocket to get humans to Mars.
Really tall.
I'm a rocket structural engineer, designing and building parts of the rocket. You are the generation that will be stepping foot on Mars. Do I have a group of astronauts on my hands?
Yes.
You can become a rocket scientist or whatever else you want to be.
Welcome back to Up to the Minute. I'm Todd Duplantis on this Friday, and we've got some announcements we want to let you know about. One of them happening next Tuesday. Meet your advisors at HCC Southeast College. Students can get a chance to meet their advisors in person, talk about achieving their academic and career goals, and your advisors can support you throughout your whole college career at HCC. They'll review your degree plans, assess progress, and confirm that students are on track to graduate on time. That happens 11 a.m. Tuesday, February the 18th at HCC Southeast Student Life Center. Check our post for more info. And Randy, I went to this event last year, and it was a great event. There was a lot of free food there from a lot of different restaurants, and they're having one coming up very shortly again.
That's right. You're talking about our Small Business Development Supplier Expo. It's almost time again to connect with over 25 HCC suppliers that can significantly impact your department's success. And of course, as Todd said, free food, prizes, and some hangout time Tuesday, March 4th at 2 o'clock in the district building, 3100 Main in the auditorium. So check our post after the show for more info.
We've got an art exhibition coming up at Stafford, and of course, it's happening at the Stafford Fine Arts Center Gallery. And the artist is Chloe Spradling. Her family was professionally involved with animals, and she developed an appreciation for the natural world. Check her exhibition out. It runs through April the 4th, and artist reception's happening 5 p.m. Thursday, March the 20th. We'll have more information in our post after the show. And it's time to get your information for FAFSA to get your student loans in line.
That's right. There is a federal student aid estimator tool to help students and their families calculate the amount of financial aid they may be able to receive for the 2025-2026 award year. Visit the Office of the U.S. Department of Education to start calculating your financial aid. So check our post after the show for the online links to that.
Okay, President's Day is Monday. We're off Monday, so enjoy the holiday. That means no classes. HCC buildings will be closed in observance of President's Day, and we'll have no Up to the Minute. So we return to the air on February 17th, just in time for Tasty Tuesday. So that'll happen. So keep that in mind. And registration is still underway, Randy. You can still get some classes in before the semester ends.
That's right. Second Start has begun, but registration for spring is ongoing. Classes are being offered in a variety of programs and in a variety of modalities, online, anytime, online on a schedule, hybrid, as Christy mentioned earlier, in person and hybrid lab. So to learn more, check out hccs.edu.
So when we return on Tasty Tuesday, Daniel Scholl, he hosts The Topic. He's helped out on this show. He's one of our regular co-hosts. He's got a side gig with brisket barbecue smoking. Who knew? Guy does everything. He's like a financial coach as well. So get your taxes done, learn about barbecue. We'll talk about that on Tuesday. And we've got another student success story with one of our work study interns coming up as well. Randy, have a great weekend. Enjoy your weekend. Get out there.
Thanks, I will. It's going to be quiet for us. My husband and my son are out touring colleges on the East Coast. So it's going to be a girls' Valentine's weekend in.
Awesome. Have a great weekend. Enjoy it. Happy Valentine's Day, folks. And to all your Valentines out there, hope you have a good one. We'll be back. Monday's a holiday. We'll be back on Tuesday with Up to the Minute live right here at 10 a.m.